Hello everyone, it's Olumayowa Victor Ogunshola from iDPS Consult Netherlands. iDPS means I diagnose and profile solutions. Today I've got something interesting for everyone. So maybe you are a student from any university anywhere in the world, irrespective of what you study, this video should be very interesting for you. Or perhaps you're an industry professional anywhere in the world, irrespective of the sector that you work in, this video should be interesting for you as well. Lastly, for the entrepreneurs, that is, you own your own business anywhere in the world, this should be very interesting for you because today I talk about successful brands. Actually, the title of this video is 6 Tips to Build Successful Brands. But of course, before I go on with these tips, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So please click on the subscription button right now. Thank you as you subscribe. When you subscribe, then you are able to see all the personal effectiveness and professional videos that we put out there for you. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube and make use of the comment section by telling us what you like and how we can serve you better. Let's go back to the topic of the day. 6 tips for building successful brands. 6 tips for building successful brands. Perhaps before we go on to talk about tip number 1, what is your definition of a successful brand? A successful brand is that brand that has the largest share in the market that it operates in. So talk about successful brands, you're thinking of McDonald's. Talk about successful brands, you're thinking of Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola. Talk about successful brands, you're thinking of Nike, sportswear, or you're thinking Adidas. Talk about successful brands, you're thinking mobile phone, Apple, or Samsung. So these are some examples of successful brands. Now, let's look at 6 tips to building successful brands. Tip, I put an S, yeah? 6 tips for building successful brands. Tip number 1 would be quality. How can quality help us to build a successful brand? First of all, what is quality? According to W. Edward Deming, quality can be defined by the customer. So if you want your brand to be successful, you cannot make the mistake of assuming quality for the customer. You have to get the customer involved. So quality can only be defined by the customer. Quality is when the customers get what they want at a fair price. Quality is fit for use, quality is fit for purpose. So you want to build a successful brand, offer quality products or services to your customers. How do you offer quality products or services to your customers? You want to get in touch with your customers and ask the question, what product or service do you want? Why do you want this product or service? Where do you want this product or service? When do you want this product or service? For who do you want this product or service? How do you want this product or service? 5 W's and the 8th question to your customers will get your customers involved, and you can offer quality products or services to your customers. Also, still talking about quality, successful brands have to manage quality appropriately. How can you manage quality appropriately? You want to embed the concept of quality control in your systems within the organization. What do I mean by quality control? You are making sure that you are inspecting and ensuring that defects do not get to the end user, that is the customer. So you are inspecting, you are spotting any errors, you are spotting any lack of quality, you are spotting deviation of standards, and you are making sure that these errors do not get to the end user. Another way that you can manage quality to ensure that your brand becomes successful is the concept of quality assurance. This is the concept of 0 defects. You are eradicating all quality problems and applying quality management principles to every aspect of the organization. So here, 0 defects, no chance for errors, quality assurance. Also, you could use the TQM approach, total quality management. Here you are getting everyone in your organization involved in managing quality processes, whether they are the operational members of staff, whether they are the tactical members of staff, whether they are the strategic members of staff. You are getting them involved in managing quality processes, and therefore you are ensuring that your organization, your brand, is offering quality services or products to the customer. The last but most useful tip, if you want to embed a culture of quality so that you can build a successful brand, is that tip known as continuous improvement. In Japan, continuous improvement is known as Kaizen. I write that down here. Kaizen. In Japan, it's known as Kaizen. Here, you're not looking for big major breakthroughs, but you're looking for regular steps forward. You're saying the customers are happy, how can we make them happier? The customers are now happier, how can we make them happiest? And that's the concept of continuous improvement, looking for small, regular steps forward to give quality services to your customers. Why is it important? When you give quality products or quality services to your customers, you retain them, and not just that you retain them, they bring you other customers as well. That is tip number 1 for building a successful brand. 6 tips we talk about. Let's go to tip number 2, which is the concept of positioning. Excuse me, please. Positioning is actually a marketing concept, and with the concept of positioning, you can build a successful brand. What is positioning? Positioning can be said to be the concept where brands or organizations occupy a space in the minds or brains of their customers. So ask yourself, if you are a brand, what is the perception of your customer towards your brand? What do they think of your brand? Your brand is not the only brand in that business. You have competition, you have competitors. So how do they perceive your brand in relation to competition? The features that you offer in your brand, the features of your services, the features of your products, how do your customers perceive these features? How do they check you out in relation to competitors that competition that you have? And that is positioning. And why should organizations have effective positioning strategies? With effective positioning strategies, your customers are happy with your products or services. That leads to increased sales. When you have increased sales, of course, you have profits. And that is why positioning is key. You want to build a successful brand, then you have to successfully position your brand effectively in the minds of the customers. What can you do to position your brand in the minds of the customers? For example, it could be quality, that you offer quality, exceptional quality products and services, that you exceed the expectations of the customers. It could be about your price. When the customers know you have the best price for your product or services in the market, then you can successfully position your brand in the minds of the customers. It could be simply customer services. When your customers know that when they patronize you, they get the best customer service ever, then you could successfully position your brand in the minds of your customers, and that's how to build successful brands. Positioning. Let's go to the third tip, how you can build successful brands. Let's talk about repositioning. Excuse me, please. Okay, so we talked about positioning, but now repositioning. In the case of repositioning, you're altering the status of your brand. You're altering your marketing mix. What do I mean by your marketing mix? Your product, your price, your place, your promotion. You alter this just so that you meet the demands of the customers. So you already have your products. The customers, the consumers already have a perception about your products. But this time around, you say, we have to change something about our product. We have to change something about our price. We have to change something about our promotional techniques, and that is repositioning. Why do you have to reposition? You have to reposition perhaps because of competition. You have to reposition so that you remain relevant in the market. Talking about repositioning, let's look at some practical examples of brands that have repositioned. You know about Colgate. Colgate did not start as a toothpaste brand. Colgate started with making stash. Colgate started with making candles. Colgate started with making soaps. But at a point, Colgate repositioned its strategies or used repositioning strategies, and Colgate became a toothpaste brand. You can you can check that out. You can research this. Huh? So Colgate repositioned itself from a company that makes stash, candles, and soaps to become a company that is a #1 toothpaste brand in the world today. What about Nintendo? Nintendo used to be a card-playing company, but in the year 1889, I think I got that right, 1889, Nintendo repositioned itself to become the video game giant that you know it to be today. What about Google, our search engine? Pardon my pronunciation, I can only pronounce it that way. I talk about anyway. I call this Google, maybe wrong pronunciation. This is what I can say. It's a search engine. But Google repositioned itself, and now this is the internet giant that we know today. So you can reposition your brand. Why should you reposition? Huge competition, to meet the needs of the customers, to become relevant, to remain relevant in the industry that you operate in. Let's talk about tip number 4 for building successful brands. I talk about that, and that is communication. Excuse me, please. You have to communicate with your customers, not just communicate. You have to effectively communicate with your customers, even before you offer that service, even before you make that product. You have to ask them, what kind of product do you want? What kind of service do you want? And when you deliver this product or service to the customers, there's what we call after-sales services. Get feedback from them. Use this feedback to improve your product or services so that the next customer is a happier customer. Communication to the customers is very necessary. It is mandatory, and this is a tip for building successful brands. When you communicate with your customers, you know your customers more. You know what kind of products or services that they want. They suggest improvements for your product or services, and you can use all of these to build a more successful brand. Let's go to tip number 5 for building successful brands. And tip number 5, that would be that you should be innovative. Be first in the market that does what you do. So I say innovation. Innovation or innovative. Yeah? So think about the most successful brands in the world. Coca-Cola. This was the first, this was not the first soft drink actually, but this was a very innovative idea when it started, and that's why it's a successful brand. So you want your brand to be successful, you have to be the first in the market that does what you do, and others will come and they copy. So to build a successful brand, you have to think outside of the box. You have to be innovative. Actually, I always say entrepreneurship mathematically is equal to creativity plus innovation. So be creative, be innovative, and then you are on your way to building a successful brand. Think about all the successful brands that you know, and you will see that the elements of being first, the elements of creativity, the elements of innovation is indeed present. Let's go to the last tip, tip number 6 for building a successful brand. Number 6, and that will be to have a long-term perception. I say perspective. When you want to build a successful brand, you cannot afford to be short-sighted. You have to think long-term. Do you know what year Coca-Cola was founded? Do you know what year all of these brands that you see now that are very successful, what year they were founded? The founders were not short-sighted. They had a long-term perception about their brands. Also, if you want to keep customers, if you want to retain customers, we have the concept of CRM, Customer Relationship Management, which means that you want this customer to patronize you, but you want to keep them so that they patronize you for a long time. When you want to build successful brands, instead of having transactional relations with your customers, that's not what you should have. You should have relational kind of activities with your customers. Don't be the business where the customers pay for your products and services and you say goodbye and that's it. Rather, be the business that develops a relationship with the customers. And that means that indeed you have a long-term perception about your business and about your brand. So ladies and gentlemen, today I presented to us 6 tips for building successful brands. Ensure that you embed quality in your products or services. Ensure that you position your brand in the minds of your customers. Ensure that you observe the micro and macro environment and reposition your brand. Change the status of your brand in the minds of your customers. You can change the price, you can change the promotional techniques, you can add a feature. Ensure that you communicate with your customers. Tip number 4. Tip number 5, ensure that you offer innovation. Be first. Be the first person that comes up with that product. Be the first person that comes up with the service. This is about creativity. Yeah. And lastly, tip number 6, ensure that you are always thinking long term. Thank you very much. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube. If you think that we can serve you better, please use the comment section on YouTube. We'll want to know how we can serve you better. Maybe you don't want to contact us on YouTube. You can visit our website, www.idpsconsults.com, and send us an email at info@idpsconsults.com. We want to know how we can serve you much more better. Thank you. As you know, I will not go until I talk about my passion. And my passion is that Africa must develop. Therefore, I say, are you an African anywhere in the world? Keep doing everything to promote African unity and keep doing everything to ensure that Africa must develop. This is where it comes to an end today. We promise you another interesting video for your personal effectiveness and your professional development very soon. So in English language, I say thank you very much. Dutch language from the Netherlands, dank you well. Yoruba language from Nigeria, West Africa, Esheo. Bye.